I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:30. Roll call, William Johnston.
Here.
Thomas Graffinino.
Here.
Lynn Colligan.
Here.
Lisa Kreckler.
Here.
And Phil DiOrio, I'm here. We also have Town Attorney Stephen Kiley present via Zoom. First order.
Sound like Kermit the Frog.
Welcome.
Um, Christine, I told you I want everybody on mute. No, I'm only kidding. Okay, the first order of business is to review and approve the June 26, 2024 minutes. I have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we have two applications on our work session agenda tonight. The first is 7 Larry Lane, Mark. This is a relatively small addition that needs our attention. The proposed entry is 42.7 feet from the west property line, where 50 feet is required. And so they need a 7.3 foot setback variance from us.
7.2.
7.3 foot.
Right.
And initially, we had asked them to come back because they had spoken about removing a shower, and it was still in the plans. They came back with the plans updated to show the shower removed. I don't know if there's anything else that we need to think about right here. You know, it's the only reason that it's a 50-foot issue is because there's a little side road there.
Right.
It's an access road that's causing the setback.
Right.
It's not a road in the traditional sense.
Right.
Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I wasn't here last week, so, the wetlands situation, can somebody fill me in on that?
Well, that's not our situation.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
but have they been to wetlands yet?
No, no,
Okay.
that's where they go next.
Okay, got it.
And
Sorry,
we-
Tom.
We had this open to written correspondence.
Right. Did we get any correspondence on this, Christine?
Oh,
None of the applications were received now.
Does anybody else have any sort of input on this? I mean, it's really very minor.
It isn't much of an addition. It's just changing the entrance and stuff.
Um,
And they also, there's 2 steps into the entryway.
Right.
Right.
I mean, if everybody's feeling good to go, we could get right into the area variance. Where they also require a special permit because they have a non-conforming property right now, and they're expanding the non-conformity. So it needs not just the area variance, but a special permit just to cover that as well, that issue. All right, so first question is whether there would be an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties.
I would say no.
Okay, and let's give Lynn some reasons here to put on her pad here.
The change would still be in keeping with the residential neighborhood?
Sure.
Yes.
Whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance. You know, I think they're trying to make it easier access for someone who has some difficulty getting in and out of the house, and I think it's a very sensible thing to do here. And I don't know that there's another, reasonable alternative that would really work there.
So we're saying no.
No.
Right.
Whether the requested variance is substantial.
No, it's so small.
Okay.
It's a small
Which-
area, but in regard to
It's that back.
setback, it's a lot of feet.
Yeah, I guess you would say on that. So there could be one of two things there, right, Phil?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I don't think the variance is substantial, but in terms of the actual
Actual-
numbers, it would be, I guess.
I'm okay with saying no. I mean, for this one, it's more of like the size that they're looking for, the length, width, that,
Right.
Could you give me some more info?
Yeah.
So we're gonna say
So,
yes
no,
yes or
it's-
no? I mean, we could say yes, it's,
I'm okay with no.
okay. We're gonna say no?
Yes. I'm gonna say no.
Give me a number for the no,
Okay.
the 7.3 feet.
7.3 feet, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood? I'm gonna say no, I can't see it having any effect at all.
I mean, if that road was a travel road, that area was a more populated and used area, I could say yes, but no, I don't believe so.
it's just for those two houses,
Yep.
getting that property.
And whether the alleged difficulty was self-created is.
It is.
It's-
That is, yes.
I want to expand it, yeah.
The expansion, should I say? They desire the expansion.
Okay, so then I think we're ready. I don't think there's any conditions that we need to attach to that. So I think we can move right on to the special permit checklist here. In terms of general suitability, is the proposed use the most appropriate use of this land?
Yes, the use
Yes.
is changing, it's residential and it's appropriate for the house.
Will the use be detrimental to surrounding property values? I can't see it having any effect.
No.
Will the use cause an overcrowding of land or undue concentration of population?
No,
No,
Say no. Is the site suitable for the location of such use in the town? Yes, it
yes,
is.
Yes.
residential,
Is the proposal harmonious with the character of the existing and probable development of uses in the vicinity? I would say that the house and what they want to do both can fit right in.
yeah,
Is the proposed use accessible for fire and other emergency apparatus?
yes,
Yeah. Is the proposed use unreasonably near a church, school, theater, recreational area, or other place of public assembly?
No.
no,
Will the proposed use interfere with the established uses in the neighborhood? No. Are the driveways and sidewalks adequate to assure the public safety and avoid traffic congestion?
yes,
yes,
Are there adequate facilities for the treatment, removal, or discharge of sewage, refuse, or other effluent from this use? And I don't think that there's,
That
what
doesn't-
what we're talking
hasn't
about
been-
there is no,
no,
it's really non. Will the proposed use cause odors, dust, light, or noise? And if so, how can the impact be minimized? I don't think that the proposed use will cause any of those things, but I guess, we could require that it is dark skies compliant, although I think that that's required of any new work. Will the proposed use impact the aquifer and other important natural resources? And if so, how can they be protected? I don't think this is going to have any effect on the aquifer. It's a lot big enough for the proposed use, and it's reasonable anticipated operation and expansion.
yes,
yes,
Is there enough off-street parking for employees or visitors, and is parking laid out in a convenient and safe way? So I would say that this is almost non-applicable, just because there's no employees really there.
Some little cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
yeah,
what buffers and screening are necessary to protect adjacent properties and land uses? I don't think anything is necessary there. All right, and then I just want to ask, Stephen, do you feel like there's anything that we left out here?
Still on mute.
Yes, the host muted me based on the chair's directive, but she unmuted me. So now I'm allowed to speak freely. yeah, because you didn't hear all the compelling things I was saying throughout, but no. You guys did a good job. There's nothing
Okay,
I would
all right. So,
Thank you.
I guess we'll put together a resolution and we'll.
Can I just get the proposed special permit activity?
Construction.
Well, that's yes. This is why it's almost like a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, that's what I was not sure what to write
Why don't
there.
you write that in, square peg, right?
Steven?
But yeah, so the activity, I guess, as Phil would say, would be the construction or reconstruction of a dwelling.
It's construction in a setback. Really, that's really what we're talking about.
Okay, thanks.
And or you could say, extension or expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming building.
Okay, thanks.
So I think we can close the work session on that, if everybody's good with that. Yes? And move on to 70 Tuttle Drive, Han. Do we have any correspondence on Han? So we had asked the applicant's agent to come back with some different drawings from first hearing to the second. And he did, and in the meantime, I guess they had heard our concerns about the height of the ridge, some of it being higher than what the original application that they had been approved for a couple of years ago. And it looked like it might allow that area to be used as living space on the third floor, as opposed to the way it was labeled on the plans as storage and mechanical. And they came back and they had lowered the height of the ridge, and that made it much less feasible for any kind of living space to happen on the third floor. At the peak, it was 7 feet, but it dropped way off very quickly. So I can see it being used for storage, but I can't see it being used for any sort of living space the way that it is currently before us. I don't know if anybody else had anything else on this. I mean, they're staying within the old footprint. The house is getting a little bigger. But the existing house is a place that's been out there a long time, and it's kind of whatever. I think it's hit its life expectancy. And I think it's more feasible to start over and within the same footprint and build a modern home, same spot.
And bringing up the code.
Yeah. They're gonna have a new septic. That's gonna be further from the water than the current septic, and it's gonna be a modern system. So I don't know, anybody else wanna weigh in here on this application a little bit?
I was just happy with the second round plans that they came back with, going from that 7 foot down to the 0 instead of.
8 to 3.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think they heard us, and I think that's a reasonable accommodation.
I think the second round, they also did something deck wise, it's just stairs in the back. They came down to height below maximum allowable. Everything that we brought up at that initial, they adjusted.
Anybody else?
There was that, just to bring it up, there was that one neighbor who brought up the hedges issue,
Right.
with the screening.
I feel like the existing screening that's there is good. Maybe we should require that be maintained as opposed to, whatever,
Being ripped out.
chop it all down or something like
I also
that.
think the pictures that night didn't tell a really true story of what it looks like being so close up on the hedges
Right.
compared to the drawing that Matt had of what the hedges would look like in
Right,
artist rendering, you know?
right.
So,
But I think the screening is good. I think there is room to park a vehicle there, or a couple of vehicles. And,
In the front, you mean, where
yeah,
the parking
in the
is
front, and
now?
then it kind of comes around just a little
Yeah.
bit. Whatever, it seems to work the way it is.
Cars always park diagonal with the road, as long as I remember.
Parallel with the road.
Yeah, parallel.
Yeah, I did it, I was there earlier today and I just slid right
It's
in.
been that way since I was a little
Older,
boy,
Yeah.
since I was a little boy.
Um,
Only reading the woman says about the mud puddle out there, they raised that up because the water was rushing around the house and washing out the dirt around the foundation. So they blocked the water, couldn't run off the road into their property. That's why it's raised up off the road. That's why the mud puddle's there, because there's no drainage.
it's a low spot.
Yeah, it's a low spot.
I do think that we should consider putting something in the resolution that, there could never be any living space up on that third floor level. I don't know if it's necessary because the place is small, but whatever, I could see down the road, not necessarily the applicant, but the next person living there or whatever, trying to, whatever, do something different and saying, I already have some space here, and if I just, put a little dormer on here.
Would they have to come back to us anyway, though, if they wanted to do renovation like that?
They probably would, maybe, I don't want to say absolutely, but
So we
in
should,
most scenarios, they
Yeah.
would, but I don't think in every single scenario.
If it's inside.
What's that?
If it's inside. and-
Right, I mean, if you put a dormer on, you could say, well, the volume of space inside is increased, but, I think this, whatever, it starts getting a little.
Yep.
I don't know,
Right.
so maybe we should say that there should never be any future
Living
use of the
there.
third floor as living space, other than that outdoor deck where you can,
Right,
sit on your deck.
right.
wouldn't be the worst thing to say, we wouldn't be treating it any different than any other third story
Correct.
applicant.
Right.
Right. And I think we should say something, they gotta keep the hedges
Okay,
in our resolution.
okay.
They
Or
don't,
replace in kind, sort of, or you,
keep
It's
this
fine.
yeah,
yeah,
screening.
keep it or replace it, you can't make.
I mean,
Keep
equivalent.
it
Yeah.
under equivalent.
yeah, rip it out and don't put it back. I think we should do something about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we could put some language that it shall be perpetually maintained.
Okay, that the existing screening should be perpetually maintained?
Yes.
Okay,
As is.
Yeah, so if you could work on, or, I'll work on it. Because we want to articulate clearly what's in it, so, I'm trying to think how we can best do that. Like if we can get some details, specifically what's there as far as height, width, type of vegetation, and, approximate location, or exact location, then that would be easier to enforce down the road if they remove the screening.
I would like to just ask our liaison to the town board if we have access to some sort of a landscaping consultant or something like that.
This planning board use Sean Barron, but he's the environmental consultant they use. I don't know if he does landscape design, but he does,
So, I think not for this application so much, this is a relatively simple
Yeah.
thing. But I think that there's gonna be more complicated things coming our
Yeah.
way, and I would certainly feel more comfortable having somebody with some sort of expertise when it comes to landscaping and screening.
Well, we happy with the drawing that they gave us last month, I mean, the way it looked in the drawing.
Yes.
So as
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 reflected
submitted.
in the drawing.
reflected in the drawing. in perpetuity.
I mean,
No,
I don't know if you want to,
But I'm just saying though, it's like a bigger question for us. I
Yeah.
think that this is gonna be a thing
Yeah.
going forward. On this one, this is a relatively simple thing. Things are gonna get, I think, less simple as time goes on.
I concur.
Well,
I don't know how comfortable I feel like being, I understand why you want to be specific for the legality of it down the road if there's any issues, but I also don't want to tie a homeowner to like a specific breed, a specific plant, like it needs to be a little bit
Right.
more wholesome
All right,
and.
so maybe maintain screening the height and width of the existing screening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but then it's not enforceable unless we know what that is.
Right, yes, and that's
Or,
where.
So
you
it's
know,
not like you
we-
need a
we
privet
could-
hedge, but it needs to be
Right.
8 feet by 4
Right.
feet.
Really,
you know?
beauties.
like you can be pretty general and say, shall be perpetually maintained, suitable screening shall be perpetually maintained. And, you know, I don't
Suitable
love
screening
it.
need.
Exactly. So
Comparable,
suitable.
like comparable
Like,
screening or?
yes, suitable screening as reflected in that picture or whatever, shall be perpetually.
Equivalent to the existing.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
existing.
I feel it's like more.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I'll figure it out.
okay. Going forward, I'd like to request of our liaison that maybe we think of getting something for us over here.
A little help.
like specifically around landscape design or an environmental
Compliance.
consultant or more for compliance?
Yeah, it's not design, it's more like
So-
compliance, I would say.
Yeah, that's, it's someone who can analyze what people are submitting and also, you know, well, let's wait till after this. We'll finish this off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not necessarily aesthetic, it's really more for the screening it provides.
Okay, so I believe that I believe we need 3 separate variances here. The letter of denial, there's a front yard setback of 17.6 feet where 40 is specified, requiring a 22.4 foot area variance. The western face holds a 2.5 foot side yard setback where 25 is specified, requiring a 22.5 foot variance. And then the eastern edge holds a proposed 3.9 side yard setback, 3.9 foot side yard setback where 25 feet is specified, requiring a 21.1 foot ZBA variance. All right, so are we ready to jump on in here? Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of a neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties.
No, they're upgrading the existing house, they're not expanding the footprint.
Okay. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance. I think not.
Only by shrinking it.
Yeah.
It's pretty small now.
They have a very small building envelope.
Yeah, they do. Very narrow lot.
Whether the requested variance is substantial. Yes.
Yes.
All 3 variances are substantial. Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood?
No, not adverse, it'll be improved with the new septic.
Yeah,
And they're also, the runoff is gonna be captured in dry wells.
Right.
where the alleged difficulty was self-created. You have to say yes.
Yes.
People, they want a new house. Now, so the conditions that we want to put in is that we have to find something or other with the screening. Stephen, we're going to leave that magic to you. in terms of the actual
I'll write
legal
something and
verbiage.
I'll write something and you can keep it or change it.
And.
Yes.
Yes.
And
And then the other
Yes, ma'am.
condition is,
Yes, ma'am.
and the other condition is, you know, in any living space
Third floor
on
dwelling,
the third
occupancy,
floor.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and anybody else have anything else that we should think about with this one? No? All right, can we close this work session? I think so, right? And can I have a motion to, or maybe we'll have that little discussion here with our liaison while we're still having our meeting.
Sounds good.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Just, so, Meg, I just see that more and more complicated things, it appears, are going to be coming our way. And it sure would be nice to have, you know, whatever, applicants come in here and sometimes they have a small army with them of people supporting them. And we just have us and Stephen and Christina, and, you know, sometimes we feel like we're,
Feel left out, you want some work?
well, we feel like we're, you know, whatever.
Figure out.
You know,
Bigger arm.
whatever, yeah. Bringing a knife to a gunfight or something, that's a strong boundary line, right? Right? So I just, you know, I feel like we need to be better prepared and better supported in terms of some experts, and whether it's the environment, the landscaping, the noise, you know, those kinds of things, just to make sure that whatever we do approve is something that's going to be okay for the town.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, we'll
Thank
see
you.
what we come up with. It's mostly landscaping, screening, noise control kind of concepts, so all like exterior.
Right, things that are going to be a detriment to the character of the neighborhood, perhaps, you know, or disturbing to the neighborhood.
Yeah, because one time, Phil, we had the chief who was gonna put a swimming pool in,
Right,
remember?
yeah, and then we did a whole sound study.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, we'll brainstorm it.
Okay,
Yes.
and Meg, just remember that we're also looking to try to find an environmental consultant for the town board vis-a-vis wetlands permit application, so maybe they can piggyback off that consultant.
Yes. I was thinking the same thing, Stephen.
it was a image.
Oh, okay. All right, so you need a date for
Maybe
that
it's
image.
I guess it was some sort of a
That
graphic design.
vegetative buffer that was presented last week, was that an image,
The
a
rendering,
drawing? Yeah, the rendering, what was it?
the one,
It was a drawing.
I think
It was a drawing?
There was a picture too.
It was a
From
photograph
what
and
was
a
existing, but then a drawing of what they wanted to look like.
Well,
Rendering?
Yeah, for me, and he presented photos of the existing condition,
Right.
and that's kind of what I would like to.
Yeah, go by the photo,
Okay.
because the drawing was all,
Yeah, so maybe not the
Where-
photo that
We're out, so. Okay, can I get a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.